All right, who do you believe? A new Gallup poll that shows GOP favorability now at a 7-year high, or an NBC Wall Street Journal poll that shows Democrats lead Republicans in terms of preference on the part of voters in the midterm by a 12-point margin to the former chief of staff, to Paul Ryan, David Hoppe. We've also got the former DNC Deputy Press Secretary, Jose Aristimuno. So, Jose, which is it?
Look, I think the real answer, it's going to be on November. You know, the American people will judge and will make sure that their votes are heard. What I can tell you is this, and I'm happy to see that the Republican Party it's increasing in their numbers. I think that Republican Party, though, and this is important for folks to know, it's not the same Republican Party of the president. This is the Republican Party that wouldn't defend a sexual predator. This is the Republican Party who wouldn't separate immigrant children from their parents. So again, I'm going to go back to it. I think November will really know. I'm not worried about the numbers. I think we got to make sure that voters come out to vote.
All right, Dave, obviously different reads and what it could mean for the midterms and who's more galvanized to vote. This latest Gallup number seems to indicate that it's not such a given there's a blue wave coming, but then again, the other data seems to indicate there is. What's accurate?
Polls are always a picture in time. The poll from this September versus last September. Last September was the Republicans' low point. They had failed to pass changes in health care, which would have lowered the cost of people paying their premiums and other things. This year, they have had the passage of a tax bill, which has helped to get growth above 4%. You recall, growth could never exceed 2% under President Obama. He said that. His people said that. But yet we have 4% growth now. Lowest unemployment for Hispanics on record. Lowest unemployment for blacks on record. The other thing that's baked in here is the questioning, not the current stuff, but the questioning early in September of Judge Kavanaugh, which was a circus and a joke by the Democrats on the committee, the Judiciary Committee. So there's a couple of things helping them. But this is a lead-in, and I want to talk about what I call the Perino postulate, which is if there was going to be a Supreme Court nomination, which there turned out to be, that it might help Republicans because of the way that Supreme Court nominee would be treated by the Democrats. And yet we have seen that terrible treatment. I'm afraid you're going to see more of it Thursday. Dr. Blasey will be treated very kindly, very fairly by all the members of the committee. Judge Kavanaugh will not.
Well, we'll have to see on that, Jose. But I'm wondering how all this sorts out. If you use the argument that ultimately people vote on their pocketbooks and wallets and how they're feeling, and things are improving on that front. Now, it might not apply in a midterm year, who knows? But isn't that what Democrats are swimming against?
It is, as I said, the tremendous increase in growth, which was said to be impossible for the United States by the president and all the people, President Obama and all his people. Yet we're now doubling that growth that they said was the highest the United States could have. That has resulted in jobs, better jobs, more jobs, many more people working.
All right, but Jose, are you worried about that? To your point, does that worry you that maybe Democrats don't get that or appreciate that?
Well, look, I think we ought to remember first and foremost that part of this economic growth was started by President Obama. And look, and that's not enough for us to win in November. But the president of the United States represents the Republican Party. And the drama that comes behind him, the character that he has shown in the last couple of months, in the last year and a half, I am confident that will hurt Republicans. Democrats are going to continue to look upward. We're going to continue to try to represent all Americans. If you look, I'm not a big fan of polls, whether we're winning or losing, but if you look at this poll specifically, you can see that even the Republicans are in a 7-year growth. Part of where Democrats are growing, it's with low-income Americans. We continue to gain support with Americans on all social and economic spectrums because we continue to advocate for people for what people are looking for.
All right, we'll see, gentlemen. Like I say, Election Day itself, we'll prove that one way or the other, which way people went.